everybody and welcome back. So today I'm going to be painting over Pokemon cards. These are actually some cards that I got from my boyfriend because he just has like hundreds and thousands of spares. And yeah, I'm going to be painting on a few of them and it's going to be really fun. So these are just a few cards that I had picked out from a whole bunch of cards. Now I'm going to pick a few from this to paint because obviously I can't paint all of them in one video, but we are going to pick a couple and it's going to be a good time. So the paints I'm going to be using today are my Miyahime gouache paints. I tested these in a recent video and I loved them so much, so we're going to be revisiting them today. And the cards I think I'm going to paint is this Mudkip here. So let's begin. Now I actually want to add a nice blank layer over the top of all of this text and stuff because painting a picture directly over words can be quite distracting. So I'm just reusing some of this paint here that was left on the palette from my last gouache illustration because, you know, don't want to waste paint or anything. And it's a pretty close color, so I'm making a nice little layer over that. Now I think I picked Mudkip because I just think that this is so cute with the pose he has, and it's one of my favorite Pokemon, honestly. I really like it. Now I'm just going over with a darker, sort of more deeper, like an aquary color, a teal as you would. And I'm just painting in some rough rock shapes here that match sort of the background. As you can see, there are some rocks in the background for Mudkip. I don't know if it's rocks or coral or anything like that, but it does have that nice sort of teal color to it. And I'm just extending it down further and I'm just sort of leaving it in a painterly sort of like look because I think that looks really nice, especially for underwater scenes. And yeah, we're just extending it forward and we are making it a little bit darker and a little bit more green down below. I really like this and I am having so much fun painting this. Honestly, underwater scenes are probably one of my favorite things to paint just because I really like the colors and I really like the scenery, and you can get so many different scenes with underwater like artworks. Like you could get like ones with like lots of fish or Pokemon or even a dragon. That would be a really cool thing to paint actually. Let me know below if you want me to paint an underwater dragon. I think that would be so cool. So now that we have the first layer for the lower part of the card down, I'm just going in to the upper part where the border is and I'm just extending that further and I'm just making it match a little bit better in color. So I've mixed some of that teal color with a bit of white and a bit of yellow to make it like softer and warmer, and that's where we're gonna have the sun sort of shining through the water to make that really nice sort of light yellowy green color. Speaking of the sun, as you can see, there are some ripples on the surface of the water. Now I got pretty much mostly white with a tiny bit of yellow added, and I'm using my paintbrush to sort of just add some swirly lines, and that is going to be the ripples on the surface of the water. After this, I just need to add some bubbles here and there because there are a few bubbles in the original illustration. So of course I want to have some detail around. I don't want it to look too boring, so we're adding some bubbles and a little bit of seaweed as well, and I think it's working out pretty well. Now that the blue from the bubbles is dry, I can add some white around the outsides and some little highlights here and there to make it look nice and, you know, bubbly. But yeah, this artwork sort of has a simple color palette. As you can see, it's mostly blues, and you are going to get that with an underwater scene. But I really like how it's just got that little bit of warmth in there with the yellows up the top and also the orange on the Mudkip. I really like sort of simple color palettes like that. They're fun. So after that, I want to add something into the foreground, and I had the idea to add another Mudkip, but it's pretty much just like the top of its head showing through, as if it was maybe like photo bombing this illustration, as if like someone's under there taking a photo of this little Mudkip at the top, and then this one down below just sort of popped its head in frame, and I just think that's funny and cute. The original Mudkip does have a nice crisp outline, so I'm using my brush pen here just to do a similar thing but a little bit thicker to try and, you know, push it into the foreground a little bit, and I think that's working well. So here is this little Mudkip card, and I actually did add a layer of a sort of gloss varnish over the top just so that the whole finish matches, and I think it looks pretty nice. I like it. So the next card I'm painting over today is this lovely little Volbeat. Now I picked this one because I really liked the background. The Volbeat itself is a little bit simple, but it's also in a really cute, soft style that I really like. But I was really excited to get into painting some more flowers. As you can see, there's some flowers to the left and the right of this little Volbeat here. And I just want to extend that downwards and just add like a whole bunch of flowers, as if he's like flying through this giant field of flowers. And I kind of want to have the flowers like larger as they get, you know, closer to the bottom of the card, because I really want to try and push sort of perspective in a way, so it looks like those flowers are closer and then they're like, you know, going into the background, so they're obviously going further away. But yeah, as before, I had to add a nice sort of base layer here, and we're just doing, you know, a normal green, and then I decided to do a bit of white for the upper part of the border, and I pretty much just extended a little bit of blue into that to try and get a bit of a gradient for the background. As you can see, there is a little bit of a gradient because of the sun shining, and to be honest, that gradient took me the longest and was the most difficult out of all of this, because it's really hard for me to get a really soft gradient when I'm painting on something that is kind of waterproof, like, you know, Pokemon cards. Well, they're not really waterproof, but they are water resistant at least. So, you know, the paint isn't going to absorb into the background, so I can't really get any nice sort of watercolory effects or washes. So that was a little bit difficult, but overall it's not too bad. And now we are going into the lower part of the illustration, and I just started some rough patches of a dark green color, and then after this I am layering in some lighter green over the top so that we can have some, you know, random highlights for leaves and stuff like that. And as you can see, I've got the patches of leaves slightly bigger as they get to the closer to the bottom of the page, and that's just to try and start off that perspective. Now I'm just painting in some flowers here, as you can see, and I'm just using a light pink. Now it doesn't match completely to the flowers in the background. It's kind of hard to match colors perfectly, but I do end up using a few different types of pink here, so I think it works pretty well. Now with gouache, it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to layer colors over the top of each other, especially if you have a thick layer underneath. Sometimes that paint can reactivate a little bit, and you can end up with a few mistakes here and there, and that definitely happened with me, but it wasn't too bad and I was able to fix them in the end. So now that we have a bunch of flowers here, as you can see, I ended up going in and adding in some more layers to those flowers just to try and get a few highlights here and there. And I also mixed a little bit of red with a bit of pink to make a sort of warmer, less purpley pink color. And I did that to try and match some of the colors in the background. As you can see, we have some more light red flowers, and I kind of wanted to, you know, extend that a little bit to try and make sure that it blended into the other pink colors, and I think that worked pretty well. Now I know I'm not going to realistically get the level of detail in the flowers that's in the background, because those are very small, and to be honest, I doubt the original artist painted at this size and probably didn't paint with gouache either. I can see some textures in there, so I did the best with what I had, and I honestly like the end result and the sort of painterly feel that you can get with these gouache. I think it looks pretty good. So after I got base colors down, I added in a little bit of white here and there to try and just push those highlights a little bit and brighten the illustration up just a little bit, because as you can see, there are some highlights on the original flowers. So I kind of wanted to add that in there to try and match the colors of the whole illustration. Now as you can see, the greens ended up a little bit darker than the greens in the background, but I don't think it looks too bad. Honestly, I feel like maybe the sun is closer to the flowers in the background, so obviously the colors are going to be a bit lighter, and maybe it's a little bit darker at the bottom, but that's kind of just my excuse. I didn't actually mean for it to be that way. But overall, I like it, and here's the final results for this painting, and I think it's really cute. And I really like how I added in that gloss varnish as well, because it just makes those colors pop really nicely. Anyways, this was really fun. Please let me know below if you've ever painted over Pokemon cards. I have actually done this a few times in the past. There may even be some videos on my channel. You might want to search that just in case. I can't remember if I made them videos. I think I did. But anyways, I hope you all are having a lovely day. Please stay safe out there, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.